2030.
Saudi Arabia, the Public Investment Fund.
It's a
There's
big
a lot of excitement
It's
around
transformational
specifically.
change. Every aspect of the kingdom, economic, social, cultural, religious.
The 2030.
The 2030.
This is the 2030.
Yalla.
This is the 2030, episode 58. Dr. Hannah, hello. What's up? How are you?
Hi, Lucian. I'm doing well. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. I'm hot. It's super hot now in the U.S. It's like it's like Kobar hot. It's like really humid.
Is it humid?
And Americans absolutely, as the, inventor of the most wonderful technology ever, air conditioning, compressed air, we really lean into it. And so, I have to be cold in when I sleep, which is an expensive thing to demand in the summer. My bedroom's on the second floor of this house, which has an atrium. So it is and I have a dual climate zone system. Both of them, like the big things you don't really see in Saudi that much. They have a lot of mini splits. And this thing is just ripping nonstop all night. So I can be just cold enough while I sleep. And when I wake up every morning, you can't see out any window because it's all condensation on every window. It's like an ice box in the middle of the jungle in Maryland here. So I'm hot, but everything is great. And we have a really fun conversation coming up with Ghada AlMuhanna, who is our in-house cultural expert on all matters culture and history. She has three-part book series that came out recently. We want to talk with her about that. It's a great conversation. And just as background, I ran into Dr. Hannah the first time. I ran into Ghada for the first time and met her for the first time at a conference. And you weren't at that conference. You hate the story, so I'm sorry. And I just suggested, because we talked for like an hour, and I was like, why don't we just not have a firm set of topics for our next podcast and just hang out and record it. We didn't quite achieve that because there was a lot we really wanted to ask her about the books and history. The vibe was good. So yeah, that's what we're doing this week.
The
and she's
vibe
great.
is good. Well, that is great. And she has so much to share. And the books, I just love that she can tell us a little bit about the process of going through archives. I mean, it's not something that I've talked about in the past with anybody. Archiving, archival material, things like that. I mean, yeah, I tapped into some archives when I was doing my PhD, but it was not historical at all. So I was looking for more contemporary stuff, but maybe a little bit. Anyway, it's a fascinating world. It's a fascinating journey to go through old stuff that's been preserved. Why is it preserved? What's the purpose of its preservation? These are questions I think are super interesting to kind of dive into.
I agree. My uncle worked for the Library of Congress of the United States, and I have spent a lot of time on their archives, and I'm always looking for cool photographs from the past to download in high-res print and frame, stylistically. It's amazing. If you search for cigarette, it's just people smoking cigs all throughout American history. And the photographs, if you really spend time on it, you're like, wow, what a photo. But it's a process. You have to really get into it. So I really appreciate it when curators like her of books and authors of books do that work for you. So you can just kind of, you can kind of just enjoy. And it's really cool to hear about her process. And I think we just get right into it.
Let's do it.
Ghada AlMuhanna, author, Instagram influencer, cultural and media advisor, is so back on the 2030. Ghada, hello. Nice to see you again. How are you?
My favorite podcasters once more.
So good to have you on the show. We missed you.
I missed you guys too. Yeah.
How have you been?
I've been great. I've been semi suffering with this weather in Berlin, because the weather has not been able to decide if it's hot or cold.
Oh no.
And so we have been cursed kind of with extreme heat. So last week was 36 degrees, and European heat is actually really hot. And then today it's 19 degrees. So it's what's going on?
Make up your mind whether. Yeah. It's also not great for the Saudis that come to visit Europe in the summer and they're like, wait a minute. This was one of the big benefits.
You cannot choose what time to come because it's like, okay, you would expect June to be colder than July, but it's not. July is actually a bit colder, and May was hotter than both of them. So when is summer?
Wow.
No one knows.
Okay. No one knows.
No one knows.
That's whack.
It's like been changing a lot here as well in London. So like, yeah, it's 24 today. It's going to be 30, I think, tomorrow. Like, who knows? But
May God be with you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm about to go to Khobar where I know it's like just going to be hot. So
May God be with you.
For...
At least it's consistent though, right? It's a consistent
exactly.
hot. It's going to be hot.
Yeah.
I know what to expect.
Plus the sun is not like above you. It's at least like a bit farther. So it is hot, true. But it's not like scorching hot. So
I think that's the thing. People don't really realize it. Like I always say like the sun, like in London when it's sunny, and it's warm and it's beating down on me, I actually feel like the sun is stronger than it is. But we're further north and like tilted toward the sun, aren't we? So
yeah, it makes more sense.
So Ghada, I want to talk to you today about lots of things, of course, but I wanted to talk to you about a couple of new books that have just recently dropped. So we've talked before about your book on camels that was published with Maison Asselineau, which I think is incredible. If people haven't seen that, it's a beautiful, beautiful book. But I think that you have a couple more, and I would love to hear about them.
Yes, I think earlier this year it was published. I might be so bad at this because I'm like, I don't remember what day or like what month it was published, but I think it was published in February, if I'm not mistaken. A collection called Homeland, which is basically free books, our people, our land, and our belongings. And so basically it's like this. It's not philosophical, to be very honest. It's just kind of my personal approach to what does it mean to be part of a homeland, or what does a homeland visually mean to you? And so I personally believe a homeland is three components. It's the photos of the people, the photos of the land that they live on, and then the photos of the things that they make from the land. So these are the three books, basically.
So can you tell us a little bit about your process? Kind of what was it that you did? Were they your photographs? Were they photographs that you've compiled and collected? Which one did you do first? How long did it take you? I'd love to hear a little bit more about kind of how you went about this.
So they are all archival photographs. None of them I personally took. The photographs span from the late 1800s till the 1980s. So we have like a huge time difference. The photographs are from all around the kingdom, and I've personally really tried my best to actually be fair and balanced through all the regions. But obviously, unfortunately, some regions did not get that much love. I feel bad about it. I really, really do. But it's just the reality of it. And yeah, it was process-wise, it took a long time. I mean, half of the books were kind of already pre-compiled from the 3 years before that I've been working on. And then the rest was just like done within like 3-4 months, because I was just jumping on a plane, going to Saudi, going into the Saudi archives, which was an interesting process, pulling out the photographs, checking them, looking for information, and then kind of like going through the entire process of like assembling the photos together. The books were published by the Ubay Khan publishing house, which is like a local Saudi publishing house. And so they really helped in kind of organizing the photographs internally. So the design is something that they went with, whereas the content is something I went with. So yeah.
So
The books
like,
are both in English and Arabic also, and I've
okay,
heard
excellent.
from them that they might be also in French and Spanish. I'm not sure yet.
Ooh, cool.
That's what they told me. Don't believe me at this point. that's
That's
that's just the
exciting, though.
tea. That's tea for this
I love
episode
it.
right now.
We have some gossip. It's
We have
so
some
good.
gossip from Farron Ghada, who chooses to elevate regions of Saudi or doesn't. I'm super curious.
Hey.
There's a series who are really mad right now, but so
Oh,
I'm
hey.
curious about, yeah, whatever. I'm curious about, okay, so Asaline books are so cool. Like I have the Red Sea one, I just got it. Can I ask you like how that comes about? Like there's such a vibe, right? It's like a book as art kind of thing, and they have such a style, even to their store in Diriyah, which I believe is their first location in Saudi Arabia. Like how do
Yeah.
you did you get approached to do that book, or did you pitch them?
Yeah.
How does it work?
The Asaline guys, so I just need to put this as a notice. I did not compile the photographs. A lot of people have this misconception that I did, and I didn't. The person who did is called Oliver Pilcher, and he's a photographer, so he was the one who kind of contacted the people and so on. But no, they approached me, and then they were based on an article I had written like 5 years ago. It was such a niche thing that I had completely forgotten, where I wrote about the intimate relationship that many people don't understand between Arabs and camels, that even Arabs, ourselves just don't understand this relation. So they approached me. They were like, "Hey, what's up? We saw that you have this article. Would you be interested in writing a book?" And I was like, "Sure. Like, I would love to write about camels, because usually people approach me to write about Saudi society or like Saudi history or like the anthropology of this culture or whatever it may be. But to write about camels, I mean, come on, that's very rare in my world, at least. So I was like, let's go. So I went extremely nerdy with that book. I included a lot of scientific facts, which like one of them is my favorite, and it always surprises people, which is that camels were as small as rabbits once upon a time. And then they grew.
What? Whoa.
Yeah, they were as small as rabbits, and then they grew to the size of a mammoth, and then they were like, whoa, this is too big, and then they shrunk again, and then they were like, hey, I'm happy here.
Like my
That's my
weight in the
favorite.
summer, right? So it's
Yeah.
sort of I think horses were the same way in the American West a long time ago, and then they got bigger and then smaller, and then they were like, this is the right size.
Yeah.
That's
And
so
camels
wild.
actually come from the US, by the way.
This I
Oh,
have heard
okay.
before. So
Yeah.
we're
I
in the
had not heard
Midwest,
that.
right?
Let's hear that. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
that.
know.
That's incredible.
Like when the world was basically one,
Pangea.
when it was Pangea and we were all one, camels
together.
were at the size of rabbits in I think it was more towards South America, and parts of the US in the South. So they started off there, and then they migrated over. I forgot what the bridge was called, but like this ice bridge that connects Alaska to Russia or something.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
they crossed
Sarah
over
Palin has
there.
talked about that one, I think.
Yeah, she has.
So
Yeah.
so they crossed over there, and then they ended up in Asia, and they were two humped camels. So that's why the other type of camel, I think they're called like I forgot the name, but they're two humped camels in Mongolia that we see today. That is like version 1 of our camel because they were that hairy. They had two humps. They traveled south, and then when they started approaching Arabia, it was like, oh wait, this is too hot. I need to evolve again. So they evolved, ditched the hump, ditched the hair, and then just became the dromedary camels that we know today. And they were like, cool, we like this place. And they were roaming for like such a long time until the humans or like, hey, we need to stop hunting these things because, like we're both hungry. It was like Arabia was super green in the past, but then all that greenery disappeared because of like, time and evolution and so on. And then they both realized like we're starving and we both need each other. So they both started like working with each other. And I think that's like the sweetest relationship ever, like camels are like, we need to keep moving, but we need humans to help us mate because camels cannot mate without the help of humans. So it's a very interesting fact. And then humans kind of like help camels by like shaving their hair, by like cleaning them up, by kind of like making sure that when a mom gives birth doesn't step on her like her baby and so on. So it's a very like codependent relationship, and the humans, they take the milk. For a very, very long time, a lot of Bedouins would even use the urine of camels to like put in their hair so that bacteria wouldn't be filled in their hair. I know it sounds disgusting, but it actually isn't, because if you actually see the practice in old photographs, you see a lot of cool haircuts and cool hairdos that they had managed to do with that. So, yeah, that's the relationship.
That's so
and
wild.
more than that, obviously.
Made in America, camels. It's just another American
I
success
wouldn't-
story.
I
The
wouldn't
Americas, maybe the Americas.
Yeah.
But also, like, I think it's was what I think is super cool about camels in general, like, is how many names we have for them in Arabic, and like how it's just like, the idea that the camels are the boats of the what do you call it? The boats of the desert, right?
Yeah. No, the
it's
ships
just
of the desert.
the ships,
Yeah.
boats, bigger
Well,
boats.
ships are more strong, forceful in the desert,
Right, exactly. And
There's
just
also
like,
2 camel emojis, and for the longest time I
Are
was using
there?
the 2 camel one. Yeah, there's one with 2 humps and one with 1 hump. Isn't that
Oh,
wild? And I was
no.
using the 2 hump one, and one of my friends was finally like, "By the way, this isn't the one we have here." So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You
the
know, this is like a
Mongolian
Mongolian thing.
camel.
the
Yeah.
Bactrian, I think, are the Mongolian
That's
ones or
what
something.
their names
Yeah.
are. Like, I always make that mistake, but which is
They
why
have
I avoided
those-
pronouncing it.
Oh, they have those in the zoo here in London, and like I always take the opportunity to be like, and these are different from the ones that we have in Saudi. Whenever
Yeah,
anybody sees
and-
them, because you can kind of see them just without even going to the zoo, just walking in the park.
And random fun fact, but camel coats are actually from those camels, not ours.
I didn't even know that there was camel hair coats.
You can actually have really nice camel hair coats.
Like legally, or is it like a elephant
No, it
tusk
is.
kind of collection
No,
thing?
no. It is a legal thing. Like, it's not
Oh, okay.
illegal. Like, Mongolians do it, and that's how they keep warm. This kind of dependency between camels and humans.
Interesting.
Even the Saudis, or like, let's say the people of the peninsula in the winter. I mean, we have all seen the fatwas. Fatwas in the past were made with camel hair.
That's true.
So,
I
yeah.
just don't think of it as like camel hair, like wabar and hair to it. Like they're different. I don't know. Anyways, very cool. Yes, you're right. They are.
Yes.
Farwas are made out of camel
Fur.
fur.
Fur, yeah. So do the I'm so sorry because I'm just going to inject some American ignorance into
Go
this,
ahead.
but
Go
the
ahead.
Saudi camel beauty pageants, and we've talked about it on the show before, but like, so their hair isn't as long as the Mongolian camel, so you have less to style and work with. And are they doing the like shaving, kind of like you get a fade
That's
with like lines in
more
it?
South Asian. So I know for a fact that a lot of South Asians, meaning like Indians, Pakistanis, and Afghanis, love to do that. So they do like shaving patterns on their camels. That's really not a thing in the peninsula. Like, the peninsula loves the camels as they are. They don't want to add anything to them because they are as beautiful as God has created them. That's the belief, at least.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the Botox stuff that I've heard about, like, the last few years that some people have done. So, yeah, I don't think
Where are
that's
they
very
putting
natural.
Botox in? Yeah, is it
In
in like
the
the
lips.
In the lips.
Oh, okay.
Which is weird because you think that they'd put filler, not Botox. But anyway, I think
I don't
they
know
were
the
trying
difference.
to
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's a big difference.
Eh.
To freeze
Yeah.
to freeze the beauty
face,
of
yes.
yeah. I think it's true. And like there were a lot of actual reports of kind of cracking down on the practice
Yeah,
and all
oh
of
yeah.
that. But I think the whole it's hard to resist when you have things like that if you want to win these pageants because there's quite a bit of money
There's a lot
in
of
them.
money. I think that it
Yeah.
goes up to like the millions, as
Mhm.
awards. But they also have. It's not just the beauty pageant. I mean, the beauty pageant is one part of the sports.
Yeah.
But what I love the most are the ones that where you have the camel owners controlling their herds. So they start like singing, and it's like this special kind of tone that they use for the camels because the camels can identify with them. And so they do these competitions where they're like checking if the owners can get the camels to them in like less than 5 minutes. And so then the owner would like be standing somewhere very, very far. And then he would be like making these noises like, I don't know how to make them, but like super, super cool sounds, and I always get super emotional when I hear these because it's just like you can tell that like it's a language between them. And the camels immediately understand, oh, that's my owner, or oh, that's the guy I go with. So then they immediately rush towards that person. Yeah.
That is
Very cool.
amazing. That is amazing. So and I'm sorry if anybody's heard this story before. Maybe Hannah has, but I went to the women's golf championship last year in Riyadh, and like so it was like all the pro ladies golf players in the world there, and like right in the middle of Riyadh Golf Club, they had the winners of the recent camel contest that had just finished, like 40 or 50 of them, like right in the middle of the golf course. So like the golf course kind of wraps around, and in the middle there's just like pathways to walk and ponds and other things, and then just like a huge camel stable, I guess. And I was like, wow, this is something you would just never see ever at a golf tournament anywhere else. But after the tournament was over and there was a winner, they released the camels, and then the leader of the camels, the herder or whatever, brought all of the camels right up the 18th fairway, right up to the sort of winner's circle. And it was so majestic because they don't move very fast, as many know, because that's not the point. They're so elegant. They're just like, we're chilling, we got our strut. And so first of all, I've never seen a camel on a golf course, let alone like at a golf club, but having like that many camels, so, truly beautiful, also massive. I mean, you kind of like see a camel when you're driving by the road, and you're like, that's a big animal. But then these things were like, athletes, like basketball players big. And the way that they were sort of adorned and dressed, it was spectacular. Like such a cool, like just kind of like Saudi twist to end something that's very not Saudi, right? Like a golf tournament. I thought it was so amazing. It was such a great way to send people off with Saudi culture who were coming to visit for this tournament. It was so cool.
I mean, if you found that majestic, I would urge you to take a step back and think about how Hajj used to be in the past. Imagine these enormous caravans entering Arabia. Like I've read reports where it's like 80,000 camels, 100,000 camels, just crossing the desert, carrying all these people, and like, entering Jeddah and taking rest there so that they could continue to Mecca. Just imagine that if that like amount of camels in the tournament blew you, then yeah, what would it be if it was like if you saw the 80,000 caravan?
I'd love to see that. And so I kind of want to get your Celine book. I don't have it. Okay. Personal question. You don't have to answer this, I guess, but do you get a cut of every book sell?
No,
because you don't. Okay, because those books sell forever. Like the ones from 20 years ago on Italy are just like And there's a store where I live in this town in America, and it's like ultra high-end stuff, and I see them, they use them as displays, but they mark them up times 10. Like, so there's the Red Sea book was $1,200, and I was like, whoa, that's
Oh yeah.
like it just as it, I was like, ooh, got it.
Was
Like
it
maybe
the
you get a
bigger
taste, and
was it the bigger version or the smaller one?
oh, I don't know. I didn't know there were two versions, but it seemed big, but it wasn't like, the size of a desk. It was just sort of like, but I thought that was strange because I mean, I see your book for $120. So, I mean, whatever,
Yeah.
480 reals.
Mine has
Yeah.
two formats. That's why I'm asking. So the first
Okay.
format goes for 1,200 and the second format goes for 120,
So,
130.
it could be a deal, they could rise in
Yeah.
front. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing.
Another really funny camel thing. Well, we didn't say funny camel things. We were talking about how elegant they are, but there was not a Saudi thing, but a Kuwaiti thing. Do you guys know about the 1982 World Cup? So I'll just invite everybody to go and have a little Google later. Apparently, when Kuwait went to Australia for the qualifying games, they were basically taunted and told to go back to their camels. And so Kuwait took that and created a mascot for their team of a camel. And then they made all these like kind of songs about it. There was one song which was like "Camel, Our Lovely Camel."
Oh yeah, I know
And
that
they
one.
brought camels to the game as well. So I just feel like there's,
I love it, but it also surprises me. I mean, Australia has a lot of our camels, so
yeah, but they didn't like the Kuwaiti team for whatever reason. Anyway,
okay.
but hang on. So we've been talking a lot about your Maison Asseline book, which is amazing, and the camels and all of that. But I still want to talk about your new series as well, which we
Okay.
kind of started talking about because I think the photos in them are just incredible. And
Thank
a lot
you.
of these, they're just amazing, honestly. And I would like to take a moment and talk a little bit about our people book. Just because, again, you've gone back into 1800 archives, and you said that you did this within Saudi. So where are these archives? How do you get access to them? And what kinds of photos? Who are the photographers? What kinds of photos?
It's a
What are
lot,
people doing?
yeah. That's a loaded question.
I know it is, but I'd like to hear your take on it.
Okay, so most of the photographs. So I made it a point that none of the photographs would be taken by Saudis. Like I made
Okay.
this a point, and I didn't want any of the photos in the book to be from local people. The reason why is I wanted to have like a collection where people could see how we were seen by others, but how we could also take that narrative back. On top of that, I live abroad. I live in Berlin. I've been living out of Saudi for now like 10, 11 years. I have these waves of homesickness sometimes, So going through the archives, looking at the photographs really, really calm me down and give me kind of this kind of peace and serenity when I look at them. And so I kind of wanted the books also to be like an ode to my homeland, where I'm like, I love my country so much and I love where I come from, that I want to show you which photos really touched me the most. So that was like, let's say, the thinking process behind it. Because let me tell you now, there are so many photographs. Like people really, really believe for some sad reason that Saudi doesn't have any photographs. But the reality is, based on my research in the last few years, I would estimate it to be like more than 900,000 photographs pre-Sahwa times, So there is a lot of rich information about the kingdom, but the issue that we have really is knowing where these photos are, knowing how to use the licenses for the photographs, understanding, okay, like, can these photographs be renovated, like fixed? Can they be kind of improved? Can I like get a higher quality photo from this? Were there notes left by the photographer and so on, So there are many, many, many questions leading to that. As for which archives did I go into? I mean, look, I went into And I'm looking up because I have a map up on the wall. So I went to obviously the UK. I went to, and now I'm going to say it this way, all of them are national archives. So you can freely access them. You don't need to like ask for a permission or anything. So I went to the British National Archive, the French National Archives, the Dutch National Archives, and then the German one, obviously. And then they all led me to university archives that had special collections relating to certain regions. So, for example, Lawrence of Arabia, he has a special collection in the Imperial War Museum. So the British National Archive told me, like, hey, go there and you might find the photographs that you're looking for. And that's what I did. So from there, you start like rummaging through the content, and then you're like, hey, he mentioned this other person. I wonder if this other person also has an archive. And so it's kind of like a rabbit hole that you fall into, basically. Um, and in terms of the Saudi archives, I mean, you have Darat al-Malik Abdulaziz, the King Abdulaziz Foundation for Archives and Research. They are fantastic. You have to obviously submit a request to enter the archive, but they're extremely helpful, and then they actually correct the information. So prior to my book being published, it actually had to go through Dara for the historical content to be approved. Because and I completely understand and agree with Dara on this approach, because so many of the foreign archives, or let me put it this way, the non-Saudi archives tag a lot of the photographs with a lot of false information. I've seen King Saud being tagged as King Faisal multiple times. I've seen off dates where it's like, yeah, King Abdulaziz meeting King Farouk in 1962, and it's like he died prior to that. So there's a lot of information that's a bit off and weird in the non-Saudi archives. So the data really makes sure to like correct that information and make sure that everything is like top notch. There is the King Abdulaziz Public Library, also has an archive. It actually has a photo archive that has about 120,000 photographs of Saudi alone. And you can, as a citizen and a resident, access the archive. You have to just email them, and then they provide you access. And then obviously private collectors, when you keep doing this work, people start trusting you, and then they start opening their own personal archives and showing you the photos that they have preserved or bought off of an auction or like seen somewhere. And from there, it would be like a process where I scan the photo, take it to Dada, and ask them, like, is this an accurate photograph? Like, have you seen this before? And then we would try to match the photographs with something that is like, if it's, for example, if it's a photograph of, a celebration in Riyadh during Eid, dated 1942, for example. We would try to find photographs in the Dada archive that is similar to that date, and then cross-check and see, okay, like, do they look similar to each other? Oh, the ones in Riyadh didn't dress up this way. This is more Shargiya. No, actually, I think it's in Medina, and so on and so forth. So the analysis really helps with the data, and then we kind of like verify the photographs and move on from there.
And is there something that you see in a photograph where you're like, yes, this is different than anything I've ever seen before, so it has to go in my book? Or are you looking for patterns and things that are very much the same? Or like, is there a misconception that you're trying to change, or is it more of a different approach?
No, definitely. I mean, the first thing, again, because the book is an ode to Saudi, the first thing I make sure is that the photo emotionally resonates with me. Like, I have to have cried after looking at the photo. like sometimes really, I'm not joking, like I would be bawling out, crying because of how emotional the photo made me. And it could be as simple as like someone smiling, because it just would remind me of something, or it would make me think like, man, this person was so happy, or like not necessarily, but like they must have been happy in that moment, and they never saw this photo, because it was taken in the 30s, and then the photographer just left the country, and obviously they would not get a copy, like it's just an
Yeah.
obvious thing. So it would really make me emotional. So that would be my first priority, and then the second one would be something that would trigger my curiosity. And there are times where I have also experimented with the photographs, meaning that I have published them and checked if it also resonated with people. So a lot of the photos in the book, some people would say, oh, they were pre-published on your account. And I would say, yeah, because they resonated with a lot of people. So why not? They should be in the book, because, if someone from Najran feels the same sentiment as someone from the north, to someone from Sharqiya, to someone from Riyadh, then this photo spoke to all of us, and it deserves to be in the book.
That I'm so glad you tied it into your social media account, because it's now, and sorry to flatter you in front of everybody, but it's now one of my favorite accounts to follow. When you
Thank you
post
so
a
much.
series of photos, it's always from what I'm seeing, it's always a historical photographs. And for everyone, when you have a story with many sort of stories in it, I'm hitting kind of like the hold button on the phone, because I'm like, whoa, if Ghada is selecting this photo and sharing it with everybody, I'm like, I don't want to scroll through this. I want to take a good look at it. And you'll have those, and I'm like, that is actually a really amazing photo. And sometimes I think, I'm like, I need to get that like blown up big and like on a huge,
Yeah.
like a dramatic accent photo or whatever. But then you also share things from, today. And when you were in Riyadh, probably not most recently, but in April, where I saw you,
Yeah.
and Dr. Hannah didn't get to have the hangout that we saw each other at the conference, and we were talking about how the next show we need to do has to have less sort of structure and more flow, because it's so fun
Yeah.
talking to you. But you uploaded photos from Riyadh that you just kind of took around Riyadh,
Yeah.
and they were. It's kind of like how Instagram like used to be when it was less like me all the time, and it's more like this is something interesting to me. It's art that I'm seeing in real life. How do you choose like those photos? Like, what inspires you when you walk around a place like Riyadh or anywhere in Saudi Arabia now?
Look, I think this doesn't just apply to Saudi, it applies to everywhere. I personally believe we forgot to press the pause button sometimes, or we forget to pause it, or click it, or whatever it may be. And in Riyadh's case, look, I grew up in Riyadh. Riyadh is my hometown, and it is too fast for me. And that says a lot, and everyone, and I get it, everyone has to go to work, everyone has something to chase after. It's just let's say, the characteristic of a city. But sometimes I think pausing and actually looking at something and taking a moment and saying, hey, this is not going to happen again. I'm just going to witness this right now, and then it's just one day is going to be like boom, gone and not there anymore, So might as well just enjoy it and capture the moment. And usually the photos I take on my phone, or on like a small Kodak camera like this one, it would be stuff that like has caused me to pause. So it could be like a corner of a building that I think is like just visually so beautiful. Or it could be like a moment that a family is like not noticing me, and I would take the picture. And I have to say this, I know like there's a lot of like data protection stuff about people being taken, like photos being taken in public and so on. So I always make sure that like they're not like their faces don't show, but at least the bodies of like a family is there, So yeah, that's usually what I go for. I just really, really depend on how I'm feeling at that time. And if I feel like, hey, this is something really beautiful, I just take the picture. It's not complicated.
So, what about the artifacts that you chose to include in your book? Like,
Oh, that one was such a roller coaster. It was so messy. Like our belongings was the messiest of the three of them. Like our land was the fastest. Like it
I
was
could,
so quick
yeah.
to finish it because everyone takes like nature photos of Saudi. And it was the fastest to finish, and it didn't take that much long of a time. Our people was the second longest because, like I said, some of the photos were already prepared, but then I needed to finish just the rest and then caption some of the things. Our belongings was a miserable process. Like I have to be honest.
Oh
Like
no.
I hated every second of it.
I love that
I
you're sharing that.
No, I
It can be
really did.
painful, right? But
It,
it's
it it
beautiful
was
now.
so painful. No. It was extremely painful. And if it weren't for the Mansujat ladies, like a shout out to them, like
Ooh,
they
tell
really
us
saved
more.
the book. Because like, look, there are so many textile archives in Europe that have actually taken textiles from Saudi. And I had reached out to a lot of these archives asking for like, hey, just give me a photo of the textile. I don't need to touch it. Like I just don't need to. And it would be like, oh, we can't. The photos are like the fabric was too sensitive. We can't take photos of it. Okay, I understand, but like you must have taken something of this fabric. Like it just doesn't make any sense. No, we don't have any photos and so on. So it was so frustrating. And then at some point I realized, you know what? We have this association called Mansujat and based in London. They for so many years it's basically like a bunch of ladies from the western side of Saudi that have like collectively started like gathering up all of their mothers' clothes and like their grandmas and so on and just shipping it abroad to better preserve it. And so I reached out to them and I was like, "Hey, I know you just published a book and I know this is not in your interest, but I would love if we could show some clothes. Like it would mean so much to this project." And honestly, they were amazing and very supportive and they were like, "We're game, like pick the photos you want." We took these photos. It was like some of the photos that they didn't even publish in their book, they shared it with me. And I thought this was so cool. Because not many people do that, honestly. Like people would rather preserve these things, for other projects or whatever. But I could extremely tell that they really cared about like sharing the information. And so a lot of the photos that you'll find in our belongings, yes, because I've had this comment from someone, they do look similar to the Mansujat photos because they are. They are the Mansujat photos. Um, and then God bless him, there's this man called Mshawah al-Mshawah. If like any of the Saudis are listening to this podcast, I urge you, to follow this man. This man is like God sent, because he is a senior Saudi who is a retired military officer who decided, I think on a whim, to start his own like museum in Qasim, and he just started collecting anything and everything to the extent that he pulled out his own mother's dress from like 100 and something years ago, and the Ministry of Culture even kind of like refurbished the dress.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it's so cool. It's so cool. And Shawah, through the Bekan, heard about the project and he was like, I'm willing to help. Then he gave me access to all of the photos, and they're like these fantastic museum like photographs of like a pot, or like a teacup, a little finjan. Amazing photographs. and I had like so many to choose from, but I obviously couldn't choose everything. But yeah, this man, kudos to him, and I love him because he loves to like go on social media, turns on the video like live, and he just talks, and it's the best thing ever because you can tell that this man loves to talk about history. So he would say like, and it would be random topics. Like he would jump and say, remember the other day when I mentioned to you about this like horse saddle? Well, I was thinking about, the saddles of camels. And then he would just pull it up. And I love it. I love it. I love that this is his hobby and that he has like pushed it even more. And for every foundation day he dresses up and I love it. Like I love it. This man, his name is Mshawah AlMuhanna. So
Thanks for that. Very cool.
Is a must
Yeah,
follow.
Is that a must follow? What is he on? Like, what network is he? Like,
He's
like
mostly
Instagram
on. No, he's mostly on
TikTok?
Twitter. No, Twitter.
Okay,
Or X at this point.
X. Yeah. Still can't say
He's
it. Yeah.
on there. And he's on TikTok, I think. But I don't think he uploads the TikToks. But I don't know. I don't want to make false assumptions, and then have him be upset at me. So I just don't know.
He dedicates a whole 3-hour thing to getting mad at you on.
No, I don't know. I don't want that, but like what I do love is that he one time did actually, because he also studied in the US, I think, but he once actually posted a photo of himself decked out in a cowboy outfit, which was so cool to look at.
Awesome.
Can you visit his museum?
Yeah, it's in
Riyadh?
Breda. It's in Breda.
It's in Breda.
It's not,
Okay.
Yeah. It's not in Riyadh. He lives in Qasim,
Okay.
so
I see.
you can definitely visit. I didn't, but I know for a fact you can definitely visit his museum.
Google has it wrong and says museum in Riyadh, so
Wallah,
that's why.
maybe I made the mistake. It's مشوح.
Yeah. في متحف المشوح, which it says is in Riyadh, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it is. There's.
Maybe then I made the mistake. Maybe he opened it. Yeah, I know he's from Qasim, but I mean honestly, no. I think it is this one, but I made the mistake.
No worries.
No, but this man,
we found it. It is in Riyadh.
It is
and there's
amazing.
a bunch of I think there's a lot on YouTube as
like,
well.
I mean, look at this. He has like
amazing.
He has like old written notebooks and like look at this. Like so many random things. And I love it.
Yeah.
I love museums that have just random stuff and they don't know. Not that they don't know that it's random, but they don't know why they collected this. And it's like, okay, why did you choose the Pepsi Cola sticker? Like, why did you grab that? And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just liked it. And I love that. Because I think a lot of people over explain or like over philosophize the reasons of why they do things, where it's like, oh yeah, like, I'm thinking for the future and I would love to do this and that. And I'm sick of these kind of explanations. And I love when people are like, yeah, I just like it. I just like to do it.
Just doing this. Yeah. I don't want to justify.
It makes me happy. Like, and it's not about justifying. It's like, literally, that is the reason. Why do you like to do that? I just do. That's it.
I think we have a new, when we do our first in-person sit-down 3-part conversation with Ghada, I think we have a location already selected. If we can get this guy to agree to it, I think that would be amazing.
He is so nice, I'm telling you.
Can you, before we wrap up, and it always sucks to wrap up our conversation with you because they're so fun, but is there anybody else on Instagram that's in your sphere or social media or in YouTube or anywhere that is also influential to you and that also finds your work because of what they're doing, super valuable?
Honestly, like, there are so many people and so many accounts. I mean, one of my favorite accounts is on X, and it's a guy named Mansour Al-Assaf, and he is he's a sociologist. I mean, not professionally, but he definitely, to me, reads that, because what he does, he did a podcast with Thamania called أشياء غيرتنا, which is things that have changed us. And he's the co-host on that podcast. And the amount of information he has is so beautiful. Like he just like, you can tell this man has passion for like social change, and he's memorized everything. So one of the things he does is he collects news clippings and he posts it on Twitter. And I love reading them, because sometimes it would be like, oh, I read this letter. What if I can find a photo of that day that this kind of note is mentioning? And so that kind of inspires me to go out and look for stuff. Because it would be quite descriptive, and it would really, really help in just going through the archives. So that's definitely one account. And then obviously, like, you have like the Ghada account. I love, they sometimes post pictures of like the history of the country. SBC has a channel called the Krayat. It's called Memories. And you can find really fun clips sometimes there and just watch. Like one of my favorite clips is like how would you translate anashid?
Like traditional songs, folklore songs.
No, it's not a folklore, because it's kind of just like, it's basically like Islamic music. I don't know how to explain it.
Without like musical
Without
instruments,
guitar or something. I don't know, without strings. But
anyways, they're also
it's
kind
like,
of folksy. They're folksy, anashid.
Kind of, but it's basically kids' songs in a way, and these kids are singing about like the cities that they come from, and it's one of my favorite videos.
That's cute.
It was published by the Saudi channel when the Saudi channel pre-Sahwa was like going really hard on a lot of the stuff that they produced. And it's like these little kids like breda breda ha ha ha, and it's like so adorable.
I've seen some of these,
and you look at these videos and you're like, these are adults today.
Yeah.
And I just love that.
But what's funny? Like the other day, I don't even remember what sparked it, but I was trying to collect the songs that we used to sing with the clapping. And I couldn't remember some of them. And I started texting like my friends, and they're like, oh my God, I'm too old. I've forgotten. So we found one YouTube channel that had a compilation of so many of these. They were so good.
What,
but
the
not only
stuff?
It's like la'bini wa la'bak, those kinds of things.
Okay. Yeah.
But also we found like there was more. There was like Selwa ya Selwa and all sorts of other things, that like other games that kids play with little anashid, with these little kids songs.
Yeah.
It was really fun, and I was like, okay, this is actually something that needs to be documented, because here I am, trying to find the lyrics that I used to sing and couldn't, for these silly little games that I played when I was in grade school, So anyways, I think maybe the next one should be videos of like kids.
I mean, definitely
dance.
there are so many
and games.
And yeah. I mean, look, this is the fun part of the archival stuff, is like the more you dig into something, the more you're like, hey, this was not collected. Where are people from this? And then even what makes it even fun is that you find people that are very similar to you in that sense. Like one person I can think of right now her name is Tara Dreither.
Yes.
And she has an account called Sawt al-Sura, which is like one of my favorite projects ever.
It's amazing.
And we always, it's an amazing project. And her and I always make fun of her by saying like, you're the sound and I'm the visual, because what she does, and just to give Lucian an idea, she collects the vocal sounds of women from the past. And so she's a singer herself. So and an artist. So she travels the kingdom looking for older women who used to sing in the past. And then she sits with them and records what they sang. And
Oh, it's amazing.
yeah, and
That's
then
so
she
cool.
tries, it is like one of the coolest projects I've ever heard of. And she's like, you have no idea how like the process is, because obviously, you know, a lot of these women went through the religious side of the Sahwa and have stayed religious. So they don't want to sing anymore. But Tara manages to convince some of them, or like she tells some of them, like, you know, you don't have to sing it, just tell me the tone of it, and then someone else can sing it. We just want to recover, you know, like a lot of the folklore music that has been lost to time, especially the feminine ones. So she really inspires me. Her work inspires me, and it makes me like fall in love with the work that I do.
Yeah,
And
Tara's fantastic. I
yeah.
definitely would say follow Slora for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's a
there's
great account.
an episode of Tara on Nos Voices, my other podcast,
Oh, nice.
coming soon.
Nice plug.
So we
Love
do.
it. Little cross-pollination.
Oh.
It's in Arabic. It's in Arabic. But maybe we'll subtitle it because it's so interesting. Like
No,
she's
no,
a
the work
curator
she
as
does
well.
is a great work. Yeah.
Yeah, Tara's
And then
is fantastic.
there's also one more person who inspires me. I mean, him and I really talk a lot about the archives. He is not super well known, but I think he should be. His name is Mish'al al-Mansour, and his account is, I think, like A1 History or something, like on
Oh yeah,
socials.
I follow. Yeah,
He
So
he
good.
is, look, he's a young man who has so much talent. Bismillah alayhi. Yani he really is very, very talented, and has this very unique ability in recognizing the people in the photographs. So sometimes I pull out a lot of photographs and then I don't know who these people are, you know? So I would just send it to him, and he would immediately off the bat just say, okay, this person is that, this person is that, this person is that. So he's kind of like an AI, you know, like a recognition AI with photographs, and he's fantastic. And a lot of the photos he posts are really, really nice. So yeah,
Yeah, agree.
that's I hope that answers your question, Lucian.
That
like,
is
with
Those
some
are
of the
like
accounts.
great accounts.
Definitely.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Rado.
my
Yeah.
followers to following ratio is going to change because I'm going to follow all of those, and we'll actually put all of the links to these people in our.
I mean, there
where
are
this video
so
appears
many
and
more,
all that.
and
Yeah.
if I forgot anyone, I'm really, really sorry. But
then
yeah,
they've fallen out of favor with you, and
no,
no, just kidding.
please. I mean, look, I also feel very inspired by artists and photographers, like especially photographers in Saudi. There are so many great photographers out there that really produce like amazing visuals, and I cannot wait for like 20 years to pass, 30 years to pass, and to look back and say, yeah, this person, I knew this person, or I knew that person, and hey, like they took the best photos of Saudi in this time period of change and so on. So yeah.
What we'll do is we'll list all of them, and then we'll make it a poll, and so it'll be
I
like ranked
would
choice
just
voting. And
no,
then
no, no. I would just recommend people, usually, because I don't follow many people. I would just recommend looking at who I follow and just follow them. That's the easiest
a really good way
to
of
do
doing
it.
it.
Honestly, that's the
Definitely.
easiest way.
if your follower list is public, so you may need to make that adjustment.
It is.
in
No,
the
no, no. It
settings.
is
Okay.
public. But if
Okay.
you see any meme accounts, just ignore them. Like just
Okay,
go
yeah,
over
those
them.
are for entertainment. Yeah, that's
Yes.
off the. Ghada AlMuhanna, author of Our Land, Our People, and A Labor of Love, Our Belongings, joins us on the 2030. Ghada, thanks so much. It's always so fun and so
Always.
interesting and edifying. We really appreciate it.
So
I
great to have
appreciate
you
it
on.
so
Thanks,
much.
Rada.
Thank you.
Right, so let's get to the news.
Let's get to the news.
Interesting news this week. Actually, my favorite kind of news about vocational education and training in Saudi. So there has been an expansion in vocational training. There are 3 new strategic partnerships, 3 new academies that were launched as part of the education. I think it was called the Education Nonprofit event, exhibition, conference. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They announced that there would be 3 new academies. So the National Center for Strategic Partnerships has launched 3 specialized academies in cement production, tourism and hospitality, as well as nonprofit management, which is really cool, actually, because I hear a lot of people talk about how difficult it is to find people that are qualified to run foundations, nonprofits, etc. So anyway, the new institutions are going to focus on those 3 specific areas. They were developed in collaboration with different industries, industry partners. So the Yanbu Cement Company, the Saudi Arabian Chefs Association, which is in itself a nonprofit that was established in 2010 to accelerate the culinary field. So this is exciting. I love this news.
Vocational training is, and I'm preaching to the converted here, but vocational training, I think, is so increasingly, with the rise of AI, the sort of accessibility to liberal arts education via the internet, obviously, and disinformation and other things too. Vocational training is huge, I think, in the United States and should be further developed. And I think for Saudi Arabia, with the need to fill jobs in things like, Yanbu Cement Company, the Chefs Association. I mean, this is the type of training that can deliver the vision, right? And so seeing stuff like this, I'm sorry to get excited about your wheelhouse, which is, training.
No,
and,
I love
and
it. I
education,
want
but
more people to be into it. It's great.
So I just think this is so cool. So the total number of strategic partnerships now for this: 45 academies, 25 cities, 18 sectors, all with the support of Human Resources Development Fund, HRDF. The NCSP, is managed by the College of Excellence Company, which now aims to build strategic partnerships by opening up new sustainable training pathways for young people. I think really good for Saudi Arabia. I think seeing this kind of progress, the ripples and waves from this in the years to come will be huge. So love to see it.
Yeah, it's really important. We can talk about it forever. So let's move on to the next piece of news. What else do you have for us?
We've seeded a deep dive later. Who knows?
Yeah.
Saudi.
Perhaps.
Okay, so here's what I got for you. Saudi Arabia saw its millionaire population grow by 2.8% in 2024. Congrats, y'all, on your success. That's great. I'm jealous. It now has the most millionaires in the region. I don't know if you knew that. Not Dubai, kind of defying expectations. Adding around 9K new high net worth individuals, Saudi Arabia has, to become the highest in the region, with some 340,000 millionaires. Awesome.
That's a lot of millionaires.
That's a lot of millionaires. That's like 4 stadiums full of millionaires. Wealth in Saudi Arabia is primarily held in financial and non-financial assets, of course, right? What else is there? With financial instruments accounting for 60% of gross personal wealth. So it's holding onto financial instruments that's driving this wealth. Non-financial assets, such as property, also make up a significant portion. By the way, that's only going to go up as property values rise, real estate develops. Debt levels are extremely low, remaining below 10% and hovering around the 6% mark, according to this report. Inequality has decreased as well since the last report was released. So that's good. You got the opposite problem in America right now. You've got more and more millionaires and billionaires and fewer smaller middle class. It's a problem. The kingdom still ranked 5th in wealth inequality, following the UAE in 4th place.
I think that's still quite high, though, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, these are probably not the kids that are going to go into vocational training, unless they are, and then they identify incredibly blinding gaps in the market through the training that they get and go on to be incredible entrepreneurs where there's loads of funding as well. So I think that I don't think that one necessarily negates the other, but I do think that it's interesting. People ask me this question a lot, oh, everybody in Saudi must be super rich. And well, no, but this report doesn't help.
But there are 340,000 super,
millionaires. Millionaires today, whatever, what's a millionaire? That's not a whole lot of money, right? A millionaire, you spend a little too much and you're not a millionaire anymore. Anyway, according
You're
to
right.
this report,
It doesn't have the same cachet as like in the 1910s.
Exactly, like
exactly.
$1
With Golden Age. He's a
million.
millionaire. Yeah.
I don't think so, but it does mean that people are starting to save more, make more, and that's good. But private wealth rose 4.6% according to this report in 2024, which was buoyed by equity market gains and a stable dollar. But the U.S. has led charge, adding over 379,000 millionaires, more than 1,000 millionaires a day. And now it counts
USA,
for
baby. Yeah.
nearly 40% of millionaires worldwide. So apparently U.S. and China are going to be the main drivers from now through 2029, even with the crazy politics, according to this report. So interesting.
Well, I mean, the quote unquote mislabeled big beautiful bill is just going to drive that big time with massive tax cuts for wealthy people. So we don't need to get into US politics, but like there will be a lot more millionaires, and hopefully your boy
Perhaps
becomes a millionaire.
Good luck to you, Lucian. Good luck.
Thank you.
Not yet, but almost. Yeah. So the other thing which I hope this sparks is that people are going to be so disgruntled by that beautiful bill that you're talking about that they're going to move to Saudi, because at the moment there's a huge push to attract global talent. And Saudi's launched its new skill-based work permit system. They announced it, I think, in June 18th, but it's kind of been rolling out, and more details have been kind of unfolding. It's introduced a new classification system for expatriate work permits as part of its efforts to kind of enhance labor market efficiency, but really attract international expertise and get kind of some of the big talent to come to Saudi to set up shop and start their own companies or work in kind of some of the new and emerging giga projects and, existing ones as well, plus other positions and so on. But foreign workers are going to be split into 3 tiers: high skill, skilled, and basic, based on factors that are related to their qualifications, their experience, their technical abilities, and so on. So this is an initiative launched by the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Development. It stated that this system was designed to, quote, enhance worker performance, attract global talent, to transfer expertise and experience to the Saudi labor market, improve operational efficiency, benefit from international expertise, and build an environment that supports innovation and the development of new business models, unquote. So, yeah.
So,
Bring the millionaires over.
mashallah. No, I mean, so like this has kind of been a missing piece, I think, is they've made it so much easier to get to and visit and travel around Saudi Arabia. Not quite as easy to relocate and live there still. There's still some work to be done on that. I mean, getting a work permit or getting a comma, it's not straightforward still. Let's just say it like it is, right? And so this is a change that sort of is a precursor to that type of change, because you want to have relaxation of those procedures with this type of sophisticated approach to making sure that the labor force that's coming in, if you're coming into work, it matches the needs of the economy. The economy's needs are changing, right? I mean, like every day, every week. So it's making sure that stays updated, and you do want to make it attractive for people to come to Saudi. You've got like guys like me, who are coming, right? But it needs to be much broader, and I think you're there in the timeline of things. I mean, if trying to attract doing a move like this in 2018, right? It's a little soon for that. I mean, a lot has been done to make this a reality. This is an indicator of progress, I think, above all. So. Love to see this.
Definitely.
This is great news. Yeah. I mean, and
Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, it's okay.
No, hold on. You said I wrote I want to hear what that is. Yeah.
I wrote a short article, a commentary a few years ago about what comes first, the talent or the or the city's development, thinking specifically about Riyadh, but also broader Saudi. And, I think it's a split. The jury's out. It depends. You can create hubs of excellence that people are attracted to, or sometimes people are attracted to a destination for different reasons, and they go there and then create a hub of excellence. And so I think there's efforts to do it in both directions in Saudi, because there is no one answer. But you definitely see more and more people moving to centers where they are collaborating on, different initiatives that do breed and spark creativity and innovation in a different way. So exciting times.
Exciting. I'm glad you said that. You were going to deprive our listeners and viewers of
Should we put a link to my article?
We will put a link to your article.
Okay.
And no, thank you for that. Kind of sticking with the same theme, which is, it's an important theme. I mean, not everybody is a walking center of excellence like I am, right? So, I mean, I think this is something that is personally interesting to me. Saudi Arabia will open the property market to foreigners in 2026. That includes Shaboy over here. Another move to boost FDI. Saudi Arabia will allow non-Saudis to own property in designated areas of the kingdom, beginning in January 2026. Let's hope Hatin is on that list, under a newly approved law that marks a major step in the kingdom's ongoing efforts to attract foreign investment and expand its real estate sector, which is already expanding, but definitely needs help, providing supply, lowering prices, etc. Majid Al-Hughail, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing and Chairman of the Real Estate General Authority, commended the law, calling it an extension of the kingdom's comprehensive real estate reform agenda. Non-Saudis now will be permitted to buy real estate within specific areas, most notably in Riyadh and Jeddah. Yes, awesome. I'm so stoked. I want some details. What do you know, Hannah?
So I don't really know that much. I think it's exciting. I know that, I've been talking to people who tell me that they hear all sorts of people saying, kind of mapping out where they want to live in Saudi, people that are not Saudi, that have been working there or living there for a while. So I know that there are expectations that you'll be able to own property, right? And I think that now we've heard this announcement. It's part of the strategy. It's an extension of the comprehensive agenda. This is exciting. I think that, I don't know too much more than what's been announced here, but I think that this aligns very, very closely with things like the premium residency law, provisions that govern other ownership of property in the rest of the GCC, and for GCC citizens as well that are coming into Saudi. So it's just, there's a lot that's being done to attract people to come to Saudi. And if you come and you love it, but then you cannot stay for whatever reason, because you don't own your property or because of restrictions on sponsorship and things like that, then it's not as attractive a destination as it could be. So these small tweaks make a difference in the people who are going to move to Saudi's decision-making process. And another thing that I think is really important is thinking about flexibility in the job market, right? So that's not addressed here, but thinking about, okay, so if I come, I hate my job and I want to move to a different job, can I do that? How easy is that? Well, what about my family? Can they also work if they want to? What about my kids? Do they have to leave when they're 17 or can they stay here? And I think that all of these things are important questions. And then beyond that, quality of life questions, school, entertainment, all of these other things, which Saudi, we talked about it in our last episode, foot is on the gas pedal and it is, it is going at full speed in developing an incredible place to live. So as that happens, the regulatory framework needs to adjust to keep it attractive, I think.
It's not just a foot on the gas pedal. It's a cinder block that has been put onto the gas pedal, and there's no lifting it back up. It's just going forward. I think both of those are amazing points. Speaking just from my personal perspective, I mean, I really want to buy a house in Saudi Arabia, specifically Riyadh, and it's something that I've been kind of thinking about how to do. Not a ton of options, because I'm an American and my business is located in America. So is our podcast is a US based podcast. And so navigating that is not easy, but I mean, like, for me, when I visit Saudi Arabia, if we're not like living there in the winter, then I'm staying in a hotel or and so like I would visit more if I had a place there that was, totally, mine, ours, my family's, because it would be like, well, I'll just stay, I'll check in on the house. Right. I mean, like you will get that more, but the smartest thing you said is about how this sort of affects labor. I mean, this directly affects labor and talent attraction. I mean, all of that is where you live, where you hang your hat is so important to people, and people that are highly skilled laborers or experts or whatever, typically not always, but have families, and they can't do the schlep like I do in the summer back and forth. That is totally impractical. I'll be going for 3 days on Sunday, which is insane. That's too much, right? They want their family there. I want my family there. So I love this. I love seeing this progress. I love seeing it done patiently, even though I personal interest would love it to be, expedited or whatever, have it happen 2 years ago. But this fits into the theme of doing things right, following a sequence of events and developments and milestones that you can hit so that the timing is right for something like this. I think the timing is right for something like this. And
absolutely.
This awesome news. Dr. Hannah, thank you very much. Thanks to Ghada as well for joining us. She's the best. I will see you. You're going to Saudi this coming week as well, but you'll be in the EP, right? So
I will definitely be in my EP.
Okay.
So enjoy Riyadh. I will enjoy. I heard it wasn't so humid at the moment, so this is a good thing.
Oh, yay. It's okay. I've already got a little bit of a base tan. I should be okay. We will be, we'll be announcing something on this next week, but we'll have a bit of a modified schedule for August. Dr. Hannah will be on, actually in the United States, for a summer vacation. So we will take
a summer relocation. I'll still be working. Okay. Unfortunately, there are no vacations in my life.
Same.
But yes, I will be relocating. It will be great. But when you work for yourself, Yep, 100%. Well, you don't get to take vacations when you work for yourself, like we both do. But if you love what you do, you never really work. So not a day in my life.
Right? Not a day in my life, right? Thanks, Hannah. Appreciate it.
Take care.